When you start feeling this way about your life, everything on the outside of you will shift in accordance to your newfound energy. When you are in true alignment with your character, everything that is good for you already exists in your life. And you no longer go looking for things from outside of you to make you feel like your life is good. And you start to individuate from circumstances, people, situation, and things that you used to think, when I get that, I'll finally be enough. When I get this, then I can finally be happy about my own life and love myself and feel like I'm good and feel like I'm attractive. But when you switch that way of thinking to being an individual that their greatness comes from within, the type of energy you will be projecting will not be someone who thinks that they're not good enough yet. And what will happen is there's less expecting things from people, and there's less having to focus your attention on everything on the outside of you. You can be aware of things on the outside. But when you learn to be within your own frame of body and your energy, it is sourced from within. When you begin to live this way, the way you show up in the world will be so much more attractive and so much more magnetic to things that are in alignment with the real you. Because when you live through all of these suppressed emotions that have been powering your current reality, have been causing your mind to go to work daily on everything that didn't go your way, or focusing a lot on things that made you feel so excited and enlightened and just feeling like, I feel so good, and you get attached. And when you get attached to these things, then they become something we focus on for our happiness, and it's an unhealthy attachment. You can pay attention to great things that mean something to you, but when there is a dependency, what tends to happen is the things that you want in your life get pushed away from you because of the energy you're projecting outward. And that is why I mention a lot about disconnecting, detaching, going back within your body. Just having some space for yourself. Taking some time. Meditation is an important tool. It helps us recalibrate our energies within our energetic chakras throughout the body. You don't even need to know the name of the chakras. Just know that there are energy centers from head down to your pelvic area. We don't need to be naming body parts here, or else this video would get awkward, wouldn't it? But when in meditation, like, who cares if people think it's woo-woo? If you really want to integrate your energy and not have to depend on things from outside of you and results from outside of you and people to validate you, people to look at you, people to give you good treatment. And when you are feeling a negative feeling because someone did something to you, it doesn't have to stay that way. You can learn to let go of those feelings with the letting go technique, with the surrender mechanism. And I'll explain that a bit to you. When you surrender a feeling, that feeling is tied to so many thoughts in life moments that happen to you. And when you start feeling in these negative states, these negative feelings, they are attached to every single one of those life moments that happened to you in the past. But to be able to get away from that feeling is to surrender it to something greater. And the only way you can surrender it and switch your state, the way you are feeling when you feel that feeling that's making you feel in a negative way, is to not fight it and not always act on it and spit it out. I mean, there's two different perspectives here. People say you shouldn't be acting on your feelings or telling someone, but that's not the right way to do it. You should be admitting, you should be getting that out of the body. And that's not, you are getting a feeling out and a thought and admitting to someone how you actually feel. But in the book, Letting Go, they were saying that part of that still gets suppressed because you were admitting, instead of just allowing the feeling to be there, surrendering it to something greater and moving on to greater feelings, moving up the chart of consciousness. Now, from my own experience, I prefer to let it out. I feel like I'm going to be suppressing my emotions and my thoughts towards a certain event if I'm not admitting. It's something that created a lot of programming throughout my whole life, was not admitting, abandoning myself, and doing things for other people. But when I began to live life for me and enjoying great connections, I love people. I love my relationships. When I speak like this, it's not to embody being a narcissist or to make you be a narcissist. I actually make a lot of videos about narcissists versus empaths. And I feel like I used to be the type of person who would attract people who are self-absorbed and narcissistic. You don't have to call a person a narcissist. They have narcissistic qualities. They have a name. You don't have to call them narcissist with their last name after it. They have the qualities. We all have different tendencies. They call people like me who make videos like this spiritual narcissists because there's a little bit of ego there, because now we know what we're talking about. Now I've done the inner work. Now I can make videos on it. Well, if there is a touch of that, it is what it is. It is the present moment. It is the person who created that judgment in people who make personal development content. I do not need to judge them in return. I move on. But when you focus on something and you can't control the way you feel about it, a lot of times it has to do with you're trying to find a game plan on how to resolve it in your own head. And then you're trying to come up with a way to defeat that feeling, but you end up battling it. And that's not a form of just allowing it to be there and surrendering. You're actually fighting back. And that's why that feeling will keep coming back throughout that whole week or month or years. Like the feeling of grief, of losing someone very important or losing a pet. The feelings that will resurface a lot of times from that is the feelings of missing them, and good feelings because we felt a lot of love for the pet or the family member or close friend. And those feelings will resurface. That's because it's still in there. It's still in our system. You don't have to get rid of it. It just is what it is. But when you do use the letting go technique and surrender these very negative states of being, these negative feelings that have created temperaments and identities, and us feeling like life is not fair and that we're at the bottom of a totem pole. That when your type of self-talk is like that, and a lot of those feelings are attached to those life moments that are still stuck in your system, then the reality that is going to be projected and reflected back at you is the exact same thing that you feel, because other people around you will only feel about you the way that you feel about yourself. And when you begin to change your self-talk to feeling good about yourself, feeling good about others, not judging people that you think you need to hate. We don't need to hate people. We don't need to protect ourselves from people. We don't need to give everything we have to every individual either. It's becoming neutral. It's not loving. It's not hating. It's not judging. It is what it is. It's just feelings, and they are attached to thoughts. And the more that you battle those feelings from the past, or that you battle the way that you feel in the present moment towards people, whether it's physical attraction, an employer, the boss and employee relationship, when you feel a certain way and you can't get rid of those feelings and they're attached to a negative story or a negative result, then most times you're always going to get that negative result reflected back at you. But when you begin to change your life around, like I had done 2 years ago, and I said, I'm not going to keep attracting or paying attention to what doesn't feel good, and learn to surrender the feelings of lack, the feelings of unworthiness, the feelings of not being able to achieve some form of success or do any better than the current line of work that I'm doing, and start to believe in a greater story for myself. It manifested itself on its own, because I began to project a completely different energy. And then the opportunities just came throughout that year of me continuing to persist at it. And I didn't have to manipulate the outer world to get my needs met along the way. I let things be the way they are. And the biggest thing I learned was just enjoying the process throughout the whole way, and enjoy not getting results. Enjoy what it takes to get better at it. Enjoy, you know, if it has to be, enjoy being single. I know it's not tough. It's not easy. It is tough. But you have to enjoy the process at some point, because if not, you're living coming from a place of not having. And when you're coming from a place of not having, that's the energy you're projecting at men or women that you are attracted to, that you'd like to come in. And when you change that story from within to being good either way, feeling like you're attractive, knowing that you have good qualities, knowing that you love yourself now for being you, people will look at you like that. And how I made myself be able to feel that way about my own life and recite it on video here is through a lot of the letting go technique and surrendering to God, allowing the divine to power me, and have a message for when I do have time to make videos, and come out and make a message and make a video, and just allow the divine to flow through me and all around me, and align with the synchronicities that are meant for me in my life. And I hope the same is true for you. I hope that you did get a few things from this video that you can start to apply to your own life, because I know that you have what it takes within you. That is why this type of content resonates with you. So thank you for watching this one. We will see you on the next video.